Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is Lakshmikant from DQ Labs. So today we are conducting Design Nuance series, DQ Labs Design Nuance series. And to go ahead and conduct this particular session, we have invited Shiv Nadar University. Now, for which we have two lecturers from Srinagar University, Mr. Vikas Kumar and Dr. Sanket Pai. So welcome, Mr. Vikas, and welcome, Saket. So yes, so before we go ahead and start this design nuance series, a small introduction to our speaker for today. We have Dr. Saket Pai. And in Saket is an educator, designer, research, and industrial designer holding a joint PhD from IIT Bombay and Monash University. His doctoral work explored design innovations in firm equipment for small Indian farmers. His educational background is an industrial design and mechanical engineering. He has over 7 years of experience spanning education, product design, and machine building domains. So, yes, so I welcome you, Saket, and I request you to please go ahead and take over the session. So,
Great.
you, as discussed, you have at least around 20 to 30 minutes for the session. After that, we'll open it for question answers, right?
Sure. Great. Thank you so much for inviting me. Hello, good evening, everyone. Let me share my screen quickly so that we can start with the talk. So today we are going to talk about design for all, right? We're going to talk a bit about inclusive design. And to start with, I would like to ask you all a question. Have you ever felt left out in spaces or situations? And have you ever felt excluded? And by excluded, I mean there are three types of exclusions. All right, there's permanent exclusion, which happens when you have some sort of physical or cognitive impairment, uh, and that kind of excludes you from some spaces or accessing some, technologies or products or services. And then there is some temporary exclusion when, let's say, if my hand is injured, then if my right hand is injured and that's my dominant hand, so I may not be able to use my mouse well, right? So if we have created a digital product which requires me to use my mouse, then I get excluded from that product. Or, for example, this lecture, and if I have a ear infection, I may not be able to hear this lecture, right? So I get temporarily excluded. And there's situational exclusion. So, for example, if I've gone shopping and I've if I have two large bags, heavy bags in my hand, and then I have to go to my door and open a door, I get excluded from my own space because it becomes difficult for me to reach the key and open the lock, right? So that's situational exclusion. And sometimes we also get excluded because of the way things are designed, right? So have you ever struggled to read a sign where I'm driving down the road and I'm not able to read the sign and figure out which way I'm supposed to turn or which lane I have to take? Or have you tried to use an app in a language which you do not understand? And nowadays, there are apps and products which allow you to select a language. But what if that selection itself is in Latin alphabet and I know only Devanagari? Then how do I select my own language? Or have you ever struggled to operate a product for the first time? Let's say you buy a kitchen appliance and then you try to operate it, but you have no clue how to, access or use that interface. Then how do you go about it, right? So have you ever entered a space and you have felt that it wasn't built for you? Like, for example, if I was in a wheelchair and I had to access that washroom, how do I get up those stairs, right? And why are we even talking about this? Right? Why do we even talk about some people that might get excluded from things, right? Because we always think in terms of majority, and we think that most people are like us, and we use this word normal or typical, right? And we are talking about this because we are designers, and sometimes through design, we could include or we could exclude. It has that potential. And that's why it becomes a huge responsibility, right? So let's take an example of CAPTCHA. So you might have noticed this every time you had to, let's say, reset your password or access any service online, right? Any web source. And CAPTCHA typically stands for completely automated public Turing test to tell humans and computers apart. And the whole point of this test was to distinguish, real humans and automated computer bots that might increase traffic and thus slow down the service, right? But over the time, it was noticed that this captcha, which is very ubiquitous, we find it in a lot of services, that is becomes very annoying and at times even inaccessible, especially for people who have visual or cognitive impairments. Right? How do they access this, or how do they use this captcha? Right? And hence, instead of just blocking computer bots, which was the original intent behind designing this, we end up blocking a huge number of real people, right, from accessing the service. And then we had image-based captcha, which has some of the similar problems, right? Where we, again, what happens when you have some sort of visual impairment? How do you go about it? And there is a sound there, but what if you have auditory impairment as well, right? And then Google came up with something called as reCAPTCHA, which was a slightly more better design, right? It was simpler, it was screen reader friendly, and it could be accessed through keyboard. And it judged on the basis of how you click instead of whether you've just ticked or not, right? So this was more inclusive, and it allowed a lot more larger variety of diverse people to access these services. Yeah. So what happens when we exclude through design? There's a lost access for those people, which sometimes results in a loss of dignity, where you feel like you're not important enough, or you don't matter, right? Or you don't belong. And that leads to loss of trust in the product that we have designed or the service that we have designed, right? So poor design ends up shutting people out instead of, reaching more people, which is our initial goal. And especially this is important because in a diverse multicultural country like India, where our food habits, our traditions, our way of living, our way of looking at things, or our way of doing changes every few kilometers. Right. So here inclusive design is not optional, it's essential because we are such a diverse country. And so what is inclusive design? This is an approach, it's a methodology, it's a process. It helps us create products, services, and spaces that work for a wide range of people, regardless of their age, ability, literacy, background, or language. Right? And the key terms here are it's a methodology, it's a process. And like and especially as designers or as design aspirants, you'll be learning about the design process. And the key thing to consider here or to remember here is design process is never a checklist. It's not a list of things that you have to just tick. And if you tick all of those boxes, then your design is ready. It's never a checklist. It's more like a recipe. Depending on the situation, depending on the ingredients and at hand, depending on who you're cooking the food for, we tweak our recipes, right? So similarly, we are supposed to tweak our design process so that whatever we design, whether it's a product, service, or spaces, it is adaptable and it includes a wide range of people, right? And when we are talking about wide range of people, we are talking about people of all ages, people of all abilities, people coming from all sorts of backgrounds, all languages, right? And but wait, isn't that similar to accessibility? A lot of y'all must have heard about accessibility, right? Making things more accessible to people, making spaces more accessible. Well, it is similar in a way, and we'll see how. So this, so we'll look at three terms here. There's accessibility, there's universal design, and then there's inclusive design. So accessibility is usually a feature or an attribute. So when we say we are designing for accessibility, accessibility is an outcome of the way we have designed it. So that outcome ensures that whatever we have created or whatever we have designed can be used by people with different needs, right? And then, as we spoke about inclusive design, that's a methodology, that's a human-centered design process, right? That embraces this diverse needs and make sure that a lot of people can, access these solutions. And all of this falls under the umbrella of universal design. And that's a philosophy that says that design should be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without much need of them having to adapt to it. So that brings us to the three core principles of inclusive design. The first one is we must always remember to, recognize the diversity and uniqueness. As a designer, we have a tendency to draw from our own experiences. Whenever we are given a problem to solve or we are asked to design something, we always look back at our own experiences and try to figure out what are the problems and how do we solve them, right? But what we fail to realize that our own experiences, or what we say a typical or a normal user's experiences, may not be the experiences shared by all, right? People come with diverse range of experiences, people come with diverse range of abilities, and it's important to recognize that and to be sensitive and respectful that there are people who are different than us, and we must consider all of them whenever we are designing. And how do we do that? We do that by providing flexibility and choice. Flexibility in the way of how they use the product or service, or and choice in the way they choose to access it, right? And this helps ensure equality as well as equity. Now, all of you all might be aware of equality, which means that we try to get everybody on the same page so that everybody gets to use the solution. But we must also be sensitive and make sure that we ensure equity, which means that we provide solutions in a way that whoever needs whatever resources to meet their needs, we are providing that through our design, right? And so, what are the challenges to designing? So, one of the major challenges that happens whenever we are given a design problem is, first of all, lack of familiarity with whatever it is that we are designing, right? We may not have all sorts of required experiences to be able to figure out what are the problems, in that area that we're trying to create a solution for, right? And we must also recognize that there are differences in perspectives and values. We might have our own personal biases sometimes, or we might assume certain things, and that comes from our own perspective, that comes from our own lived experience, because we think that is the normal. But somebody else in that same situation might have a completely different approach and experience, right? Their values might also differ, right? And therefore, this leads to a difficulty in contextual ideation. And by contextual ideation, I'm talking about trying to create or generate creative ideas which meet different contexts, or which are sensitive to the context in which we are designing. And this can only happen when we shift towards empathy from sympathy. So sympathy is when we feel sorry or when we are able to recognize that somebody else is, suffering. But we need to also ensure empathy. We should be able to put ourselves in their shoes and, be sensitive to their feelings, or to be able to at least imagine what they are experiencing or what they are going through, right? Or what they must be feeling. So let's look at one case study from India, a product-based case study, and that's a prosthetic limb. And this is a low-cost prosthetic limb, and it's called the Jaipur foot, and it's very popular in India. And it's very popular in India because it's a low cost, very comfortable, customized prosthetic limb, which allows people to, live life with a lot of dignity and empowerment. It allows people to do a wide range of motions very easily. You can climb trees, you can squat, you can go back to your fields, or wherever it is that you're working in diverse environments. You are able to sit the way we usually sit in India. You are able to, and it's designed to be barefoot, so it allows you access to spaces where we have to go barefoot, right? Like sacred spaces. It allows you to do all the actions and use all the mobility products which an able person would be able to use, right? And the key features of this is it's an affordable prosthetic. it offers customized fitting for people of different sizes and different disabilities. So it works for people who have above knee amputations as well as below knee amputations. It's culturally adapted. As I said, it allows you to walk barefoot. It allows you to squat, right? It's lightweight and it's durable. Yeah. Let's look at one more case study of what I feel is a good example of inclusive design. And that brings us to something called as adaptive fashion. Now, when we're talking about adaptive fashion, we're talking about apparel or clothing that's designed so that it meets the needs of people with diverse set of, diverse range of abilities or needs. So, for example, if you look at the pant there, it has this Velcro which allows you to quickly wear it, right? And it has an elastic waist, or a shirt which buttons backwards so it's easier to get into, or a pocket. If you're sitting in a wheelchair, you have a pocket that you can easily access, right? So, and this is a company called Aramsi. It creates this adaptive clothing. There's one more in Kolkata called Zenica. They create denims where you don't have to bend to wear those. They come with, pull-up straps, or they come with pants which can open as a flap from front or from side. So people with different abilities can easily, go to the washroom while wearing those pants. And they create shirts with magnetic buttons, which make it easier for a lot of people to, wear, right? And here, if you look at these examples, you'll understand that what they've done is they've customized this clothing to suit their customers' needs. Right? They've created clothing which is not just comfortable and fashionable, but also functional for a wide range of people. Right? And it considers different physical conditions and body shapes, and that helps foster empowerment, self-expression, and dignity for everyone. So, what should be our approach then, whenever we are talking about inclusive design? Because inclusive design is more of a mindset, right? It's the foundation which we remember whenever we are trying to design something, right? So, what we need to realize that the approach starts from recognizing certain factors. We need to recognize that there will always be a set of people who face some sort of barrier while accessing existing mainstream solutions, right? Which leads to some marginalization and exclusion. And then as we spoke about, that exclusion can be permanent, temporary, or situational. And therefore, it's important to ask certain questions. It's important to ask questions like who is getting excluded, or who are we forgetting to design for? And who participates and who's making this decision, and what are their experiences? Are we considering people of all experiences or people of all abilities whenever we are designing? Are we asking them about their experiences? Are we including that in our design? And also we need to ask who benefits from our solutions and who gets excluded or ignored because of our solutions. And therefore, we typically tend to use two commonly known methods. One is co-design and participatory design. And if you're aware of the basic design process, the design process always starts with understanding the problem area that we're trying to solve for, right? Understanding the context and the background and experiences of people. And then we tend to figure out of that broad understanding of the topic, we tend to narrow down to what exactly it is that we have to solve. So we frame and we first generate the problem that we are trying to solve. And once we figure that out, then we are supposed to create multiple set of diverse ideas and then evaluate those ideas to create concepts. Then we test those concepts, right? And whatever works, then we try and figure out how to get it to market. So all of these steps are common across any sort of design stream. And as I said, it's a recipe. So you'll pick and choose and you'll do more of something and less of something depending on what it is that you're designing, right? But irrespective of whatever process you follow, when we're talking about participatory design, we ensure that we involve the stakeholders and we involve our users in some of these stages of designing. And if we decide to involve them in all of these stages, then we are following a co-design methodology. And how do we do that? How do we really, involve them? And one easy way is to always start with these simple steps. So, irrespective of whatever stage you're at, whenever you're trying to involve them, you always start with observing how people, do or use these things, right? And we always and we do that because our key insights as a designer always lie in adaptation, because human beings are great at adapting to environments and situations. And it's only when we observe how people adapt to their surroundings despite of their impairments, that will lead us to insights which can result in product features or our design features. So you observe and you then empathize, you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and then you include them into your process, right? Whatever it is that you might be doing, you include them in your process, and you try and design and refine with their feedback. And once you've designed, you test it out with them. Let them test the solutions, or let them test your ideas and critique those ideas. And that would really ensure that whatever it is that we're designing really meets the needs of those people. Right? So the key points to consider whenever we are talking about inclusive design is we always start, from a place of empathy and not just sympathy. Be sensitive and be self-aware enough to recognize your own personal prejudices and biases, right? And we need to be very careful that we are framing the problem, and we are not just focusing on the symptoms. And that will only come when we involve the users in framing the problem, or we will involve the users when we are trying to figure out what the problem space is, right? And that will only happen, and you'll only be able to empathize if we start from a place of respect and sensitivity towards everybody else. We recognize that our own experiences are not the norm. We recognize that there are other people who might have different set of expectations and different ways of doing things and different experiences in life, and we need to be sensitive to that and be respectful towards that. And that would help us collaborate with them and communicate with them effectively, right? Communicate with your stakeholders and involve them in your process, and that would lead to context specific solutions instead of trying to design something and then trying to force it to fit all, right? And by context specific, I mean solution that adapts. Human beings grow and adapt depending on the environment, right? So our design should also mimic that. Our design should have the ability to adapt to those situations along, because we're talking about this daily tiny moments of exclusion that happen in the on the intersections of human people and society, and that will only be possible when we understand each context and this diverse range of contexts, and then we create solution which can fulfill needs of all of those situations and contexts. So I would like to wrap this with a few sentences and few things that I want to tell you all. You all are the future of design, right? You all will be the designers, will be designing solutions for all the people of the world. And inclusion is not just a feature. It's not a product feature. It's the foundation, and it's the mindset. So it's a slight shift in the mindset, but that ensures that your product or your service reaches maximum number of people, right? But it always starts with you, right? Because one of the core tenets of inclusive design is you solve for one. You solve, let's say you solve for people with permanent exclusion, you're automatically solving for people with situational and temporary exclusion. So you solve for one and you extend it to many. And you always ask, whenever you're designing something, whenever you're creating something, whether it could be a code, it could be an apparel, it could be a product, it could be a system, it could be a service, it could be an app, always ask this question, that who is this, who are you designing for, and who are you forgetting in the process, right? So thank you for having the patience and the time and for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to welcome any questions if you have them.
Great. Sanket, thank you so much. That was indeed in detailed information about inclusive design. That's really nice. Well, there are certain questions which I would like to go ahead and
Yeah, sure.
ask about. Uh, this inclusive design. Now, the first and foremost thing is, what is the major difference? What you can see, this inclusive design is different from universal design or accessibility.
Right. So, as I said, your accessibility is the feature of the product. It's the outcome. It's the feature of the outcome. Your outcome becomes accessible to people, right? So it's an
Mm-hmm.
attribute of your end design.
Okay.
But the way to reach there, the method that you follow is inclusive design. Inclusive design is a methodology and a process of doing
Mm.
that. And it falls under the umbrella of universal design, where we try to ensure that our design reaches many people or as many people as possible.
Okay, now I saw that certain options which you were saying that, okay, how the inclusive design is contributing to go ahead and solve certain problems, right? That's pretty impressive, which I can see about that Jaipur, like which you're talking about, and there are certain other aspects about the pocket on the wheelchair, which was
Yeah.
really good, which was really a good example. Now, as a student, if I'm going ahead and if somebody is trying to go ahead and take this as a career path, what is the career path which a student studying this inclusive design can see? What are the opportunities which is available for them?
So inclusive design is a process, and you can use it across a wide range of design disciplines. So
Mm,
whether you're trying to become a product designer, or whether you're trying to become a system designer, or you're trying to become an interaction designer who focuses on user interactions and user experiences, or you're a graphic designer, this methodology will help your design reach people with diverse needs. It will help your design reach a wide range of people. So design process. There are multiple types of design processes and design frameworks available in the world, but I personally feel that if we keep inclusivity in our mind whenever we're designing, that automatically ensures that our products are really human centric in the true sense of the word. And not just human centric, but also it leads to uh, people having trust in your design, irrespective of whatever it is that you're designing. So I think, irrespective of what career path you want to follow, having this mindset that our own experiences are not the only way to experience the world, and there are people with different needs that we might be excluding
mm.
whenever we try to solve a problem, it always help us develop better solutions.
Okay. Now, what are the major industries which you think they're just grabbing these designers who have the skills of inclusive design or design?
Oh, like so you if you look at most of the major digital companies of today, so I think Microsoft they have their own inclusive design policy. Google has its own inclusive design handbook. Adobe has it. So they all follow these principles. They create digital solutions which work also for people with color blindness. They try to create solutions which include a lot of people. And it happens across products also, especially in the range of biomedical product design, or mobility design, or urban design, interior design. Keeping inclusivity in the mind really helps you make your products easy to learn, easy to use. And so it adds a lot of value.
Okay, great. That's
Yeah.
nice. Now, there is a question from one of our viewer.
Yeah.
Since so many buildings have been constructed, inclusive design can be done properly only in new buildings. How will it spread in already existing structures where most populations lies in?
Yeah. So we may not be able to make them as inclusive as the new buildings, because when you start something from scratch, you have more options to add, better designs. But we can start with very small things, right? So, for example, if you have a shirt with zips, right, or a jacket with zip, you can add a small cord to it, and that helps you pull it easily, right? So that's a very small example, and that you can extend to buildings as well, where for every staircase you also add a gradual ramp, right? Or if you already have washrooms, you make one wider and add handrails there and widen the doors so that a wheelchair could go in and turn inside easily, right? So with minor modifications also, we can make, in fact, even when it comes to our own houses, if we have elderlies in our house, just adding handrails in our washrooms would really reduce the number of falls that happen, right? So there are just tiny changes that we can do to make our spaces more inclusive. It requires a certain shift in mindset. It requires that eye for detail. But I think once we recognize that other people have slightly diverse range of needs, and need to meet their needs, we'll be able to come up with ways to adapt the environment to suit them.
Now, Mr. Saket, I just want to understand one thing. Now,
Yeah,
if a student would like to pursue the inclusive design career, or when they're doing any design career as a
yeah.
prospective design student, will there be anything which you feel there is a proper mindset or qualities should a student have? And if the student have that kind of a quality to go ahead and get succeed in the this particular
Right,
design or inclusive design field,
right.
how does Shivnadar University will go ahead and help them out to
Yeah.
go ahead and succeed in their career? So
So
that's going to help them a lot. Yeah.
Shiv, the way we teach design at Shivnadar, our core values lie in inclusivity and in sustainable designs, where we are not just looking at environmental sustainability, we are also looking at social sustainability and economical sustainability. And even if I had to change one thing in the way a lot of design students approach problem solving, it would be to start from a place of humility to understand that you may not know everything about everything, and the people that you're designing for, they've already adapted to their situation, so they might have more knowledge than you. So instead of going into a problem space like a savior and saying that, oh, I know what's the best solution for you all, it would always help to start with understanding how they are solving or how they are adapting to those problems and learn from them. And then use that to make your design better. And even if that one thing shifts in our mindset, I think we could become better designers.
Uh, Okay. Now, there's another question from our viewers. Now, she's asking, Asha is asking, like, why isn't inclusive design being implemented across all companies that offers, physical products?
Um, Well, that's a slightly, it's a very good question. Ideally, in an ideal world, the world would be accessible to everyone, right? And the world should be open to everyone and accessible to everyone. But sometimes we as designers always work between this triangle of quality, cost, and time. And in that working, and we can only do two at a time. So while working in that triangle of quality, cost, and time, sometimes we make design decisions and choices that it may not be intentional. We always start with the best of intentions, and we need to give everybody that benefit of doubt, but sometimes to meet a certain cost or to meet a certain quality, we may end up missing out on certain points. And that is why some of the products may not suit everyone.
That's actually a pretty interesting question, though. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but a very good
Now,
question, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, I just want to go ahead and ask another question, which came out from one of our another, Aryan. Aryan is a question which is, what is he asking is, if a product is to be made for a user with an individual disability, such as like being deaf or a blind, how
Yeah,
would we able to go ahead and design that? You know, can you just specify some products?
yeah. So you always start with asking them what they need. You whatever it is, if you're designing for somebody, and invisible disabilities could also be cognitive impairments, right? So you always start by asking them and by observing how they are currently living their life and what problems they face in their life. it always helps to ask them first, and that would give you the most amount of insights on what really that product should have so that it works for them. So if you're designing for somebody, don't try and assume how they might be feeling or how they might be doing. You always ask them first and you observe them first and let them try out your solutions. So if you think of a solution, let them try those solutions out and give you feedback. Let them critique it and give you that feedback that this works for me, but this part of it doesn't really work for me. And that would really help you slowly iterate towards a solution that works for people with invisible impairments as well. So you always take them into confidence and let co-create with them. You co-design with them, make them a part of your design process
Okay. Now,
instead of designing in isolation. Yeah.
yeah, there is another question which is like shooting up in my mind as a parent. If you see inclusive design as a right choice or as a good choice to our children, how does this program balance the creativity and the employability? So what is
Right.
the yeah.
So, inclusive design is not really a stream or a career path. Inclusive design is a shift in mindset that you take or that you adopt, or that's an approach that you take, irrespective of what career path you're on as a designer. So, as long as you are sensitive to inclusivity and diversity, irrespective of what career path you're on, whatever it is that you're learning, you'll end up with better employability because you'll be able to create solutions that work and that reach a larger range of people and larger number of people, which automatically translates into more trust in design and hence more profits for the company. So if you're able to demonstrate that through your portfolio or whenever you're applying for a job, it would automatically give you more points or help you get that job compared to others.
Okay, great. Now, I just want to ask you another question. Now, should now the university, will they go ahead and give them an opportunity or a student an opportunity to go ahead and have a real-time experience about this inclusive design? Or will they go, I mean, will a university will go ahead and take them to a different places to make them understand how this is going to work? And will there be any kind of different projects will be given for students to learn about this inclusive design?
Yes, so we do have subjects like human-centered design. We have subjects on sustainability. We have subjects on product system design. We have and apart from those subjects that we have in our curriculum, we also have design projects, semester-long design projects that the students do. We have workshops and industry visits, and we have internships that allow them to go out and experience the art and craft of design in real-world scenarios, and that prepares them for their job once they are when they are about to finish their degree.
Okay. So we have another question here. Let me go ahead and ask you that question. So, will 2 years will be sufficient for preparation for the examination? Is that's what a question which you can answer?
So there is no time limit. It completely depends on the person who's preparing it because if you're preparing for any design exam or any design entrance test, there are a few core skill sets that you have to develop where you don't just learn sketching to be an artist or to make your idea is to not make beautiful sketches, but to be able to use sketching as a way of thinking and communicating your ideas. So you train yourself that way. You train yourself to quickly sketch and to be able to communicate your ideas through your sketches. So that skill set, along with skill sets of critical thinking and problem solving, that would help you crack most of the exams. And because those two in combination would help you create a great portfolio.
Okay. Now we have another question. It says, as an interviewer for your college, do you think for a student who already have the inclusive mindset, or will you still give someone who has somewhat of an idea as a chance.
Yeah, definitely, because we don't expect you all to already be designers when you're applying. The whole point of applying to a design college is to learn to be a designer, and we do understand that. And as long as you have that curiosity and the willingness to learn, I think you're always welcome.
Okay, now there is another question which is like cracking up in my mind, which like now we see this AI is coming up like
Yes.
now developing like
Yeah.
rapidly across, and
Mm.
if we see this after 5 or 10 years, what do you think this inclusive design or adaptation of this particular
Right.
inclusive design is staying relevant?
Yeah, definitely. Because inclusive design is an approach with which you try and solve something, and AI is a tool, right? So as long as you're able to, and the beauty of using AI as a tool is then you're able to generate a diverse range of ideas and finish them very quickly. But the trick lies in which of those ideas or which of those options then you select, and how do you make those design decisions and design choices. And if you keep inclusivity in mind while making the correct choices, that would ensure that you're using AI to be able to create really human-centered products. So AI is not going to go away; it's going to remain, but it's going to be a tool. For example, when photography was invented and it became popular, there was this fear that now that everybody has photographs or everybody can click photographs, why do we even need artists as a profession, right? But then that became a tool, right, which people could use,
Yeah.
and it democratized things. Similarly, AI is going to democratize the act of creating solutions and generating ideas. But then it's up to you how you use ideas and in which direction you take those ideas, and how do you make those design decisions and choices to select the right one. AI will give you 1,000 options, but you should be able to choose the right one, and that requires a certain bit of understanding and empathy and understanding of your user and the context in which they're living. So inclusivity will help you reach there faster.
Okay. Great. So yes, I think do we have any other questions? Any more questions? I don't see any questions right now. Yes, is Mr. Vishal there? Sorry, because
Yeah, I'll stop sharing now.
yeah, please, please. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Vikas,
Yes, hi.
yeah, hi. So welcome back, and I think we're almost done with questions. No, yeah, I have one question, Saket. Now, I was just going through with that presentation when you're showing it,
Yeah.
and I saw that one shirt which has a buttons
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you think that that's kind of easy for a
Yeah.
person to wear it from behind? I mean, I
So,
don't understand. Yeah,
for us, when we don't have any impairment, it's very easy to make those contortions to wear a shirt,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if you have impairment where you cannot raise your hand above your shoulder, for
Okay, okay,
example, then how do you wear a shirt,
okay,
right?
okay.
So then it becomes easy to just pull over a shirt and button them at the back,
Okay,
right?
okay. But in that case, I mean, you need a support almost all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time
you'll need a support,
where
but
you
then
need
you'll be
to go
able
ahead
to,
and yeah.
then
So
you don't have to depend on, clothing which looks like you're a patient or something. Then you can always wear shirts which look like all other shirts, and you
yeah,
have that same range of fashion and same range of colors, and that gives you a lot more dignity and empowerment.
yeah. But it was just striking in my mind. I was just
Yeah, yeah,
wondering, like, okay, how come this will be?
right.
Yes. So, over to you, Mr. Vikas. Sorry, I think we were just talking a lot. So, yes, now we can certainly go ahead and discuss about the university. Hope we can go ahead and if you have
Yes.
any presentation, you can show certainly go ahead and show us the
Yes,
presentation.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So what I would do is, since I guess we have around 5, 7 minutes or
Yeah,
more than
maximum.
that.
Yes. Yes, yes.
So what I'll do is very quickly skip through the presentation, and simultaneously I'll be highlighting on important things, about the university, about the department, and about the program. And maybe the audience can pause the video when they're watching it later on, and kind of see the details which may be there on the presentation. Just give me a minute. Yes. Okay. So let's start with what this university, where this university is. So this university is in Delhi NCR. Although we also have a Shiv Nadar University campus there in Chennai, but this particular presentation and whatever the talk is, and the design program itself is located in Delhi NCR only. The university was founded by Mr. Shiv Nadar in 2011, and I hope most of you may be aware about him. He is the founder of HCL as well as chairman emeritus and strategic advisor to the board of HCL Tech. Apart from that, he is also the founder and chairman of Shiv Nadar Foundation, and this university, as a philanthropic university, comes under that particular foundation. Very quickly, so the university was set up in 2011, which is like, very brief time as far as universities are concerned. But within this brief time, we have achieved a lot. We became the youngest university to be recognized as an institution of eminence, and that is by Government of India. We are the youngest university to be in the top 100, for past 8 years as far as NIRF ranking, and the rest of the things, I guess, is already there. So I'll very quickly skip through it. One thing which makes us or make this department here or the program here very, very unique is our multidisciplinarity. So this is not just a department or a college. It has a host of schools and departments. So currently there are 5 schools. As you can see, there are a research center, very specific research centers, and together, in a kind of multidisciplinary setup, we get to kind of exposure for different kind of programs and things which is happening, and together we form 24 departments with more than 50 programs offered, and a set of labs, studios, engineering, say to engineering, to a kind of design, to dance, and so on and so forth, and then a lot of clubs and societies for students to engage with. Very quickly coming to the Department of Design. So we started teaching design, at Shiv Nadar since 2014, and but in 2017 the department was formed, and in 2018 we launched our master's program. 2020 through 3 we introduced the Bachelor of Design program, and it is actually a 5-year integrated BDes MDes. So what we did is, whatever the master's program that was going on, we merged it with the undergraduate program, and we came up with a 5-year integrated BDes MDes degree. The intention of the department is to nurture creative minds, and design leadership is something which is very, very important. We not only want our students to be practitioners, we also want them to take senior management position as design leaders, and we are not only into education, we are also, now trying our level best to become a center of excellence in research as well as practice. These are snapshots of few of our studios, and say, for example, product modeling and fabrication studio, 3D printing, visual design, VR lab, applied electronics, and so on and so forth. So various facilities are there. Moreover, whatever facilities which are there within the Department of Design, apart from that, most of the labs and department in other departments, they are also accessible, and we have a culture where whenever you require something, you can very quickly figure out where we can find it, what resources is required, and there is a fair possibility that you will find it within this campus. As far as the program structure is concerned, so we offer a program which is of 160 credits, that is for 4 years. And in the first year, you have foundational courses in design, and then few courses which actually relates with social sciences like history and cognition, psychology, and so on and so forth. Second year, we'll have the foundational level courses, at a slightly advanced level. Along with that, there will be kind of courses which relates, broadly categorized as technology related courses. Third year onwards, where you decide that, okay, what may be a possible area of, not exactly a specialization, but at least streaming, which you would like to. Now, this makes us very, very unique, because very few programs offered within the country have like 2-year foundational courses, and that is to help student to take a very conscious decision. At the same time, the way things are moving forward, there is a fair chance that the kind of project you work with or the kind of company you work with, you would require at least a basic understanding of different domains, in design. Once you have chosen a particular stream, you select courses from that particular stream in third year, and first half of the fourth year, and then there is an industry project, and with that you can exit with a BDS degree. After the end of the third year, you have the option that if you want, you can go ahead for a 5-year integrated BDS MDes degree. So today I'm going to focus only on the undergraduate program, that is BDS program. In between, there are internships and industrial visits and so on and so forth. So three things which I personally feel, and I have been kind of looking across all the universities and colleges where they offer design program. So these three things makes us very, very unique. So the kind of university system we are, that makes our program very transdisciplinary. So you don't only study design, you also have exposure to engineering, management, to humanities, to social sciences, and so on and so forth. The second thing which makes us unique is our future orientedness. So from the day one, when we launched the undergraduate program, one of the questions which we have been asking ourselves and experts in India and outside India is, what is the future of design? What is going to happen, say, for example, 5 years down the line, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? Because we are not only preparing students for the immediate, after completion of 4 years, you get a job. We are preparing them for a long term. And obviously, there are so many things, the technology front, AI, and other sort of thing, which makes, very difficult to predict what is going to happen after. Say, for example, 15 years from now, whether graphic design will exist in the same form it is as of now, and these kind of questions. So we try our level best. We are trying our level best to make our program more relevant for future. The third thing which makes us very, very unique is our research focused. So from day one, we introduce research as a way of practice. And as Dr. Sanket was talking about inclusive design, so there also how to kind of bring in inclusive design and other such things within the realm of our research, becomes very, very important. So as simple as, say, for example, a vegetarian food and a non-vegetarian food, and earlier you might have seen that there is a square with a dot. If it is red, it means that non-vegetarian. If it is, say, for example, green, it is vegetarian. But completely missed people who may be colorblind, who cannot differentiate between the two. Just imagine accidentally, consuming something which you don't want to. So these are the kind of things we try to understand and focus on, and that is how it comes, as research. Few of the highlights, and very quickly skip through it to save some time. So we have a choice-based streaming system. What it means that in the first 2 years, you get exposed to multiple domains or streams in design. And only after completion of 2 years, you decide which particular domain or stream you want to kind of specialize in. So currently we offer these three specialization. There will be a bunch of elective courses that you may choose, and based on that you may decide where you want to place yourself. We have a vibrant multidisciplinary ecosystem. As we are a university, we have 24, 25 plus departments, and you can take courses across the department. So one type of courses which design students have to take, it is mandatory, which we kind of say as mandatory knowledge for students, irrespective of what department, what discipline you are from. Certain kind of life skill you need to have, certain knowledge bases which you need to have. Say, for example, empirical reasoning, analysis, cognitive intelligence. So you can go through the list of kind of domains, and these courses are very short term, like half a semester courses, a very quick exposure and understanding of these areas, different areas. The other type of courses which we offer is what we call as university wide elective. Now here a student have two options. So a student majoring in design can choose, say, for example, up to 18 to 20 credits of courses from some other department. So the first choice is obviously that, okay, fine, I'm curious, I would like to explore different departments. or different types of courses being offered by different departments. So that may be option one, where you get to know a lot of fields and have a exposure to a lot of fields. The other choice which people have is what we call as minor options. So currently there are like 20 plus minor options that are available. What it means that you do a major in design and you minor in, if you do all your courses, all your UWE courses from a specific department, you will be awarded a degree of minor. So you will be said major in design and minor in, say, for example, computer science, you can do management, big data analytics. So there are 20 plus minor options which are available. And that makes our student very, very unique in a way. Obviously, I have talked about future-oriented curriculum, and that is what we are attempting to kind of bring into our program. So, say for example, courses on artificial intelligence, machine learning via virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on and so forth. So, these are going to be future technologies. How designers should, kind of design with these technologies. So, we are trying to our level best to bring in courses, certain kind of competencies. Say, for example, software platform, one of the software platform which we are known for, I guess we are the second university to have this 3D experience platform by Dassault Systems. So few of the courses, especially for product system design, students can explore these courses and try to understand how future is going to be like. Obviously, we are a research-focused university. These are a few of the research areas in which at present our faculty members are involved, and directly, indirectly, even our own students, be it undergraduate level students, slowly we start nurturing them to do research. Dedicated career development center. So instead of having like a placement officer or something like that, we have a full kind of department called career development center, and they train people, soft training or industry engagement and all sort of things. Few of the placement data is shown here. Although at present, our undergraduate students or BA student have not graduated, but prior to that, as I said, that we were running master's program, and they were well placed in multiple kind of companies. Average CTC was around 10 at that particular point in time. Our design minor students, also got placed in, say, for example, some world-renowned design schools. This is eligibility for admission. So if you have qualified UCIT, yes, you can apply. If you have JE with paper 2A and it meets our cutoff requirement, yes, you can apply. If you have not given any one of the first two options, we have our own exam called SNU SAT, which happens at regular interval. So you can take that. Or say, for example, College Board ACT, that if you have a sufficient score, you can apply with that. This is an application portal. I guess I will very quickly skip a basic fee structure, and this can be explored on our admission site. We also offer kind of a good amount of financial aid and scholarship. So here is a list. Later on, you can refer it. We are proud, of having a beautiful campus, so our campus is spread across 300 acres, more than 300 acres. And it is not just the land which is important, it is also the infrastructure and the beauty of this campus. So we have like excellent sports facilities, and we do offer scholarship for students who are equally good in sports. We also have our in-house Atal Incubation Center. We are among the 7 universities or institutions which have been, given this funding from the government of India Niti Aayog. Some kind of data in a way indicating that if, say, for example, someone is interested in entrepreneurship, Adult Incubation Center is there to help. With that, I guess I conclude. You can, if you have any query, you can kind of go to the website. You can scan the QR code and go to the website, or else you can, send a mail at design@snu.edu.in, and we'll get back to you.
Great. So I think you're almost done with the time. And yes. Now I have a couple of questions, Vishal, if you don't mind,
Yes.
before we go ahead and conclude. Yes. Now, first thing, when you say about this, when you're talking about this transdisciplinary module, right?
Yes.
In this transdisciplinary, is a student is allowed to take two different, courses. Like, let's say if I'm going for a product design, will I be okay to go ahead and take a minor as a UI UX?
Yes. Precisely. No, so
It
it is
can be
not
done.
within the department, it is outside the department every time, So within the, see, this is what future, in our understanding, this is how what is happening in the coming times. That designer need not to work in isolation. They have to work as a team. So there will be an engineer, there will be a manager, there will be, say, for example, someone from biological sciences or something like that sitting sit beside you and working on the same project. So you have to have, as a designer, the ability to kind of understand what they are saying and coordinate, and then creatively come up with products, or kind of whatever services they are involved. So to get a quick exposure of certain areas, CCC courses are there. Now there are kind of newer domains that are coming up. Say for example, someone doing a major in design and minor in history, so there is a fair possibility. These days museums are not like what it used to be, static pieces of artifact kept with some labels or something like that. Future museums are going to be interactive. It has the ability to tell story objects, how that engagement is going to be, how that interaction is going to be, where by using virtual reality and such kind of technologies. So someone having experience of or understanding of design, at the same time having an understanding of history and archaeology, is better than a normal design graduate, I guess.
Great. Now, see, I have a couple of more questions with
Sure.
regards to, other things. Will there be a support for internship from the college side, or the students have to go ahead and find out their own internships once they finish?
Ideally, we encourage our students to kind of find their own internship, but it doesn't mean that we don't have a support. We have career development center, and exclusively they work on, say for example, bringing in industry people for soft training. Say for example, for BDES, there is a portfolio review, how interview and how you should kind of train yourself, to appear for a design related interview or companies. Starting from that level to summer internships, to say for example final placement, they support, in each and every stage. And since they have been there for a long time, they have like a huge list of companies where our students have already gone, and most of those places, they have design teams and all, and that is how the placement and the internship goes here.
Okay, so now you spoke about placements, and I just want to understand. Now, the UG students have not gotten to the placement level yet. That's what
Yes.
you're telling me. Now, the PG students, the one which you told me, it's like 10 plus. Was there any maximum amount which went up to? Is there
Yes,
a
approximately
absolute limit?
19.
19. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, there is a particular programs which you're talking about, the 5 years integrated program from BDIS and everything.
Yes. Yes.
Is it mandatory for all the students to go for 5 years, or is there an option where they can choose only the BDIS program?
As mandated by the government, programs need to have multiple entry and multiple exit.
Hmm.
So we have designed a 5-year integrated BDES MDES program with an exit option after 4 years. You get a degree, but
Okay,
it
so
is not
they do have
mandatory.
an option.
Yes, you decide at the end of third year whether you want to exit with a 4-year BDES degree, or you want to go ahead and for a 5-year integrated BDES MDES degree.
Okay, so if I'm coming to as a to Shivnadar, I can go ahead and choose as a 4 years BDIS degree, which is like the first year is a foundation program and second year which carries to their own streams, right?
Yes.
So
No,
that's a
2 years of
normal.
foundational program, 2 years, because our foundation program is slightly different. We also kind of say, for example, it is not only the fundamentals of design which is important. It is also, say, for example, fundamentals of different streams. That is also important. So together it forms basically like 2 years of common courses, and only after that you choose a set of elective to stream in a particular direction.
Okay. Uh, Now, the other thing is like, when is this normally entrance exams takes place in Shivnadar?
As far as our own entrance exam is concerned, that is SNU SAT, every month, I guess there is a set of dates which is announced. So once you apply, you have the flexibility of choosing the dates as per your own convenience. And the exam is conducted by a third party, and they have multiple centers across India, and you can very comfortably give those exams.
So is it online or offline or
Online.
online?
Obviously online. So
Online.
the first set of exam is say for example SNU SAT is online, and there you have to cross the cutoff score. After that, there is an online interview and portfolio review that we conduct.
Okay. So is it mandatory that they should have a portfolio?
Normally someone who is interested in design and have loved art or design would have some traces during the schooling days. They may be good at painting, sketching, craft work, music, something creative. So our understanding of a portfolio is at least show that during the schooling this is what I did. If you have made something with clay or whatever, you need not to kind of design it the way industry requires. We just want enough information uh, that kind of shows us that yes, you are creative, you have that ability, you have that bent of mind. That is good enough for us to make a judgment.
Great. Now, uh, do we have any university collaborations, like foreign university collaborations? And
Yes.
if yes, do the students have an option to go ahead and, or do the students have that student exchange program or a credit transfers, or do we have anything as such with Shivnadar?
Yes. So the university have multiple MOUs with kind of various foreign universities, and most of those MOUs also have student exchange program. Or say for example, you can go and take up one semester there, and there is a kind of dedicated office where you have to go and say for example, first year I won't advise for that. After completion of first year, you look at all those universities and decide, okay, fine, this university have design program and I would like to go for this particular semester. Contact the international relation office and this particular office, and they help you. So we do the credit mapping and other things. The only thing which is there is the fee which is applicable, so that won't be applicable. You have to bear the cost of traveling, and maybe if there is any fee there, you have to pay. Sometimes there is a fee waiver in case of student exchange. So if that happens, then it's okay, else you have to kind of bear the cost. But yes, for one semester we do allow, and that is totally up to the student to decide. We are also trying our level best to come up with a formal arrangement where we fix, say for example, one or two universities where every, say for example, for a semester or two, students can travel. So that will, as of now, that is not there. But yes, definitely MOUs and exchange programs and outbound mobility is there.
Okay, so any students, if they want to go ahead and choose to go for any abroad universities, they
Mhm.
have an option to get in, right? But
Yes.
they can do it whenever they want to, or is it like specifically they have to study here for 2 years and then later they can go, or how is it?
So we don't kind of normally recommend in the initial first or second year. We
Mhm.
don't recommend, although there is no restriction as such.
Okay.
We don't recommend because first of all, you have to come at least have a basic understanding of what you are into. So that would help you in kind of understanding which university program or whatever, is going to be very, very useful and will add to your portfolio.
Okay, fine. I think there are one or two questions and we'll wind it up. Now, do we
Sure.
have a hostel facility?
We are a fully residential university. It is operational 24 cross 7, 365 days. Even
Mhm.
faculty members stay on campus.
Okay, it's completely
Yeah.
wonderful. Great. So that's the fee structure, and you already spoke about the,
Yes.
what scholarships also.
Yes.
In the entrance examinations you conduct, which is done by Shiv Nadar University. if they achieve good marks, do you consider any concessions in that, or how is it?
Then you sat no, frankly speaking. But for, say, for example, there are other categories in which scholarships and financial aid is offered. Frankly speaking, if you don't fit in any category and you feel that, okay, you cannot, because of money, you cannot come here, then you apply for, separately, and based on your financial condition, family condition, there is a third party verification which happens. Based on that, they can give free education. That option is there.
Oh, wonderful. So that means if you feel there is quite a talent with the student, and if you feel the student is not capable enough, so Shivnathas gives an opportunity to student to study freely.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
so nice. That's so wonderful. Great. So that's all about from my side. So it was, I think we don't have any questions. Let me see. I don't see any more questions. So I believe we are already exceeded the time for more than 10 minutes.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Saket, Mr. Vikas, thank you so much for your time, for indeed all the detailed information about Shivnadar. So any student and parents who are watching this particular live stream or a YouTube session, I'm sure they will have the clear-cut information about Shivnadar, right? In case if they have questions also, you've already shared the link in the description, so they will certainly go ahead and get back, right? Great. Thank you so much. It was
Thank
pleasure
you.
meeting you.
Yeah,
Would like to see more interactions like this in the near future.
definitely.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Lakshmikant, Anji, and
My
DQ
pleasure.
Labs, especially for giving this opportunity.
Great, great. It's our pleasure. We would like to go ahead and see much more, discussions like this in the near future. Well, I wish you all the best for, Shivnadar. Hope to
thank you
see
Thank
so
you.
you.
much.
Thank
Well, have
Thank
a
you.
nice
Take
day.
care. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.